What's up? What's up? What's up, Bama Nation? What's going on? It is Friday. Let's go. You're rocking and rolling right now. Hottest show in the streets. Number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. I'm coming to you from the home location here in Tuscaloosa on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show. So no phone calls today. I know, bummer, but jump in the chat line, get rowdy in the comment section, hit that subscribe button, get subscribed right now to get non-stop Bama content. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button as well. Get those like levels up. Hit that thumbs up. We appreciate that coming from you. The daily super chat go $100 daily. Super chat go $100 right there. We appreciate the love from you, the Bama fans. We're going to get to some of your comments right now to start our show off here. So already we got Thunderstruck in here. Happy Friday, RTR. Appreciate Thunderstruck getting us in here. Then we got my man Justin Summerlin right now with the Roll Tide Roll link. Let all naysayers know, baby. Appreciate Justin Summerlin for that right there. And then we got my man, we got WJ Willow writes in happy holidays to you, brother Steven. Thank you, WJ Willow. It is getting in here to the Christmas season. Appreciate that. Ephraim Davis writes in, Roll Tide, everyone, everywhere. He's got, I mean, he's excited. He's excited. Ephraim waving, smiling, excited here to be a part of the show. Happy to have Ephraim with us as well. Thunderstruck writes back in, everyone smash the like button. You know what time it is? Hit that like button. Be a part of the show. Get in. Get your comments in the chat line. We're talking your Bama football on a Friday while Nick Saban is on that recruiting trail. Dale B coming in here with the Roll Tide. Appreciate that coming there from Dale B. But once again, drop your comments here in the chat line. We're going to get to as many as we can tonight on the show. Brandon White comes in with the Roll Tide. Appreciate that, Brandon. Jarvis S. a Roll Tide Roll. Appreciate you, Jarvis, coming in here. And then we got Father Ruff with the Tide is rolling. Father F jumping in here. We got Javian Smith. Jalen Milroe graduates in a couple of weeks. Think he will come back? I think he needs to put together a full layer of tape, start to finish, when you look at the NFL draft for 2025. I think he needs a full layer of tape as the starting quarterback from start to finish for 2025, Javion. But he's going to probably have some people in his ear that may tell him, you know, Jalen, you were able to have a good year, 35 total touchdowns on the season. You got Alabama too. Southeastern Conference Championship, college football playoff. Go ahead and pursue the draft. But I don't think he's ready to pursue the draft at this time. I think he needs another year. I think Milroe will definitely come back. We got Dale B dropping in a $20 donation. Let's go. All right, let's do it. Dale B already in here with a $20 donation. Absolutely. Ephraim Davis says, Stephen M., the portal is on fire. We need defense. Several defensive players are in the portal. When you look at Walter Nolan, the big defensive lineman from Texas A&M, among others. So we'll see if Coach Saban hops to the portal and grabs defensive players. You have to think about, after this year ends, you're losing Kool-Aid McKinstry, right? You could lose Terrion Arnold. You're losing Malachi Moore. You could lose Jalen Key. You're losing Dallas Turner. You're losing Chris Braswell. You're losing Justin Boygby. So a lot there on defense, you're going to be losing to the draft. So I'm pretty sure Coach Saban has already got on his board, if he's trying to get somebody from the transfer portal, he's already got it kind of picked out who he wants to get at this time. But Ty Alexander, best Bama show on TV, Roll Tide, big homie Steven, appreciate that. Ty Alexander, and all of you guys writing in so far to the show. A plow jogger comes in with the college football playoff was an issue even in the U.S. Senate today. Get over it, people. I'm just saying, there's a lot of things to be concerned about, Plow, than the college football playoff committee. I get it. Florida State upset. They're frustrated. They feel like we were undefeated, conference champion. We should be in here. Look, you were not challenged by your ACC schedule. You weren't challenged at all. You're not the same team without Jordan Travis at quarterback. It just is what it is at this point. And the committee understood. We laid an egg last year by putting TCU in the playoff. We laid an egg last year, and we don't want that happening again. We're in the business of making money. We're in the business of capitalism. We're in the business of cashing in on a dollar. And the best way to do that, you get the marquee value teams in that's going to make you that money, compel people to sit down at the TV set, compel people to buy tickets, have your television share, have your ratings, have your revenue through the roof. And the teams that do that, 3 of those teams are in the playoff. When you talk big brand Michigan, big brand Texas, big brand Bama, and of course Washington, West Coast, Pac-12, there you go. Your team is in there as well. So I get it. You still got people upset, but at the end of the day, Florida State does not belong into the college football playoff. We got Rayleigh Van writes in. Here's go here, Rayleigh. Rayleigh Van writes in, winner's gonna win, Lankham, Bama RTR. So there we go. There we go there. John M. writes in, is this true that FSU and Georgia canceled the Orange Bowl? If it is true, man, that's just off of my opinion. I've heard rumors. I have not heard, John, of anything concrete that says that Florida State and Georgia have canceled their opinions, that canceled their participation there for the Orange Bowl. So it's been rumors happening, but nothing has come out concretely as truth yet. So we will see what happens there. But continue here with your thoughts. I appreciate you guys getting your statements in. Justin Summerlin writes in, Jalen Milroe will come back. He's got a lot more growing to do. It's projected he would go 4th round. And that's the thing, Justin. He does have a lot more growing to do in terms of his awareness, in terms of his anticipation, throwing the football, throwing the ball away, not taking unnecessary sacks. There's still more elements in Jalen's game that needs to be fine-tuned, that needs to be improved upon. If he were to come out this year, I would advise him against that. But if Milroe were to come out this year, he would be projected between the 4th and the 6th round. So if you're trying to get the most bang for your buck there in terms of money for your talent, I would come back, have another year with Tommy Rees fine-tuning some things, have another year with the likes of Isaiah Bond and Kobe Prentice, Kendrick Law, and this group of wide receivers, have another year with offensive linemen like Tyler Booker, Caden Proctor, Jaden Roberts, and then come out in 2025 where you have a much better shot of being a first-round pick. But that's just my thoughts there on Milroe. Ty Alexander writes in, the portal is going crazy. I heard John Ivory was in the John Ivory is not. I hope John would never get in the portal. No, John Ivory definitely not in the portal. We're just doing the show from the home location today. But John Ivory, he'll be back. He'll be back. I'll be back in studio, folks. I'll be back in Birmingham on next week. So John Ivory definitely not there in the portal, but the portal is definitely going crazy right here, folks. Let's see here. Justin Summerlin writes in, Terrion Arnold is coming back. I would like him to. I would like for him to. Now, of course, to me, if anybody's played their way into being a first-round guy, it would be him, right? Terrion Arnold leading the team in pass breakups with 11, leads the team in interceptions with 5. So if anybody has played his way into being a first-round pick, it would be Terrion Arnold. But if he chooses to come back, it'll be huge because it would put himself in a shot to where he could be the number 1 cornerback coming off the board. Now, if he comes out this year, he would not be the number 1 corner, and a lot of people would have him slotted as a late first-round guy. So we'll see what Terrion does. Coach Hood writes in, Jake Pope shines next year. Mark my words, he's a young honey badger. Love Jake Pope. Saw him in high school in Beaufort, Georgia. The guy's a hitter. He can hit, he can tackle, he can cover. Great ball skills. We saw him back in the spring pop Jermaine Burton in the spring game. So another name to keep your eye on a day for next year and going into the next season is one Jake Pope. But appreciate you guys all writing in to start the show. We're going to actually get into topic number 1 of tonight's conversation here. And topic number one is intriguing because it really, let's see here. Topic number one is intriguing because it goes into Jalen Milroe spoke to the Next Round show on Thursday. And Milroe, he's excited. He's preparing for the college football playoff, the matchup against Michigan, the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all in Pasadena, California, and the 1 versus 4 matchup. So Milroe's pumped. He's excited for the Rose Bowl. He gets a chance to play in it. Here's a young man that was the SEC championship game MVP with 2 touchdown passes. A young man of whom won the Most Inspiring Player Award at the Alabama Annual Awards Banquet. He also won Team MVP. He won Most Outstanding Offensive Performer, along with Jace McClellan and Jermaine Burton. But he was also been named a permanent team captain, Jalen Milroe, joining the likes of Malachi Moore and Dallas Turner. Milroe will have his handprint and his cleat print enshrined forever onto Denny Chimes, a phenomenal accomplishment. But he spoke with the Next Round on Thursday, and discussing, how he's okay with not being a Heisman finalist. I know a lot of people would have loved to see him in New York City this weekend for the Heisman Trophy presentation, but Milroe's like, look, man, my main thing is that natty. That's my main thing. But team goals. What the team wants is what I want. And the team wants that natty. They're after that national championship, that college football playoff trophy there at the end. That's what I'm after. That's what I am pursuing. But another thing he talked about, and this was with Greg McElroy and Cole Kublik this morning, WJOX Jogs 94.5 in Birmingham. They talked with him about, at what moment did you feel like Alabama had Georgia beaten? Alabama had Georgia defeated. Alabama had dethroned Georgia, in making this huge statement that, Alabama's not done. The run of championships not over. Nick Saban, the age, has not overtaken him. This is an Alabama team that's still after the main thing, which is competing for national championships. And Milroe said, Alabama knew it had the game where it looked into Georgia's eyes, and it saw right there, they wanted no parts of the physicality. That's what Jalen Milroe said. He said, I'm big on body language. When I look at the eyes of my opponent and I saw they did not want this physicality, when I looked at the eyes of my opponent and saw this was going to be a 60-minute game, everybody on that Bama field, on that Bama team on the field, everybody on the coaching staff, everybody on the sideline knew it was going to be a 4-quarter, 60-minute game. And according to Milroe, Georgia didn't think it was going to be a 60-minute football game, and Alabama was able. The score did not really indicate domination. The score was 27-24, but if you watch that game, whether you saw it from TV, whether you were live in person, that score was misleading because Bama dominated in the trenches, offensive line, defensive line. It was able to lean on Georgia, wear Georgia down. And then there were 4 interceptions that could have happened by the secondary to where, Bama could have blew Georgia out. Bama dropped some opportunities there, left some money there on the table, but it could have honestly blew the doors off the Bulldogs right there at Atlanta Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So it was very interesting hearing Milroe talk about today. We knew that they did not want this physicality. They did not want this toughness. They did not want this hard-fought game for 60 minutes. We're going out there hitting them in the mouth. And to me, I felt like what changed the game, folks, was the second offensive possession for Georgia. The first offensive possession, Georgia was able to do what it wanted to do. It opened up the first play with Carson Beck hooking up there with Brock Bowers. They get down the field. They get a touchdown on the first drive. The Georgia fans going crazy at Mercedes-Benz. That first possession, Kevin Steele, as Alabama's defensive coordinator, he's kind of like, okay, let's feel this out. Let's see what they're going to do. Let's see what they're about. And then on that second possession, we're bringing in the adjustments, right? We're bringing in the changes. We're going to tweak some things, fix some things, and then really start to play, our football game as a defense. And on that second offensive possession for Georgia, Carson Beck tries to hit Brock Bowers in the flat there, and Malachi Moore, senior defensive back, ready to cleanly attack the ball, bang, laid Brock Bowers out for a 3-yard loss. And got up, talking smack, yapping at Brock Bowers, getting in his face. Like, that point right there to me changed the whole football game. Malachi Moore reading the play, coming downhill, bad intentions, laid that brother out, got up, stood in front of him, yapping his mouth. We gonna be here all day. That's what Malachi Moore did. And from that moment, the momentum shifted, the energy shifted, the intensity shifted, everything shifted to Alabama's side. The defense settled in, and you start to see, Alabama get stops on third down. Georgia only converted 4 of 12 third down attempts. The energy shifted on third down to Alabama's defense. The intensity shifted to Alabama's defense. That group started to play with a whole lot of confidence. And then, of course, offensively, the right side of an offensive line was mowing people down. The left side, you got to give Caden Proctor and Jaden Robinson credit. They played big. They played huge. Roydell Williams ran hard, ran tough, 64 yards rushing with a touchdown there to his credit. And then when Tommy Rees figured out Georgia's giving me the underneath stuff because they took away the deep ball, but when Tommy Rees figured out I can have the underneath stuff, that's when you started seeing him drawing up some things for Jalen Milroe to Isaiah Bond underneath. And that got a lot of things going. And then underneath to Kobe Prentice, that got things going. And then wheel routes to Jalen Milroe at running back, and that really got things going. So when Tommy Rees figured out they're not going to give me the deep ball, but you're going to give me the underneath stuff to Isaiah Bond, you're going to give me the underneath stuff to Kobe Prentice, you're going to give me a wheel route to Jam Miller? Okay, I'm going to take that then. And Tommy Rees took what the Bulldogs defense gave him, and that was the big key there on offense for Alabama against Georgia. But I thought that it was really cool seeing Jalen Milroe sort of highlight at this moment like we knew. When we looked at Georgia's eyes and we saw those players not wanting this toughness, not wanting this physicality, not wanting this battle, not wanting this hard-fought game for 60 minutes, we knew right then we had Georgia. We knew right then we were going to win this football game and punch the ticket into the college football playoff. So it's awesome they're getting that insight and that perspective from Milroe right there on Greg McElroy and Cole Kublik this morning. WJOX Jocks 94.5 FM in Birmingham. But Milroe not disappointed that he's not in New York for the Heisman Trophy presentation. That's not even on his mind. On his mind is playing Michigan in this Rose Bowl, handling the Wolverines, getting into the national championship game, and finding a way to deliver Coach Saban his 8th national championship of his coaching tenure, the 7th for him at the University of Alabama. But folks, we're going to go to a quick break right here. We're going to get a word from our partners, our guys at Alumni Hall. Check this out. We'll be back. We're out here at Alumni Hall in Tuscaloosa. Oh, yeah, this. Oh, man. Gotta get this. Gotta get one of these right here. Can't rock that Bama without this shirt right here, fresh polo. You gotta also rock the all pink, like Kanye West right there. Keychains, gotta get you some keychains. University of Alabama keychains. I'm telling you, if you are a die-hard Alabama fan and you're looking for some big-time apparel This place has got everything. We're talking shirts, shoes, sweatshirts, hoodies, cups, mugs, keychains. If you're just a Tide fan that has an itch to get more apparel, get more swag in your game, you come right here at Alumni Hall in Tuscaloosa, right here in Midtown Village. And also you can shop online. The link is in the description to get your gear right here at Alumni Hall. We also have new, fresh, exclusive TDA gear you can get right now at Alumni Hall. That's in store or online. Hit that link in the description and search Touchdown Alabama to view all of the available gear. Hurry and get yours before they're sold out. All right, folks, absolutely check out that gear right there at Alumni Hall. We got you right there, Touchdown Alabama magazine gear. But before we get your questions there in the chat, and I know my man Plow Jogger had a thought on the transfer portal and the targets Alabama could get there from the portal. As of right now, the 4 players for Alabama that are tested, have tested the waters, or are testing the waters for the portal. You look at Tyler Buckner, Alabama quarterback, Alabama defensive lineman Isaiah Hastings, Alabama wide receivers Ja'Cory Brooks and Thaiu Jones-Bell. Those are the 4 players on Alabama's team that are testing the transfer portal waters at this point. In terms of guys that Alabama could get from other teams, that's going to be interesting to see because the portal is going crazy right now. I mentioned this earlier. Bama's going to lose quite a few guys from its secondary to the draft and to graduation. So could Nick Saban dip in the portal for a defensive back? He could. It dipped in there for Eli Ricks when he transferred in from LSU. It dipped in there to get the likes of Jalen Key from UAB, Trey Amos from Louisiana Lafayette. So Bama could dip in there for a defensive back. Could it dip in there for an outside linebacker? Maybe, with losing Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell to the NFL. Now, I wouldn't really say you would need an outside linebacker because Quandarius Robinson comes back, Keanu Coate comes back, Jeremiah Alexander comes back, Keon Keeley comes back. So you got some depth there at the outside linebacker position. So that's not necessarily a spot where you would need to dip in the portal. But if Saban chose to do that, he could do that. On the defensive line, you've got Justin Eboigbe going off to the next level. So you lose him. Could you get a defensive lineman from the portal? You could, but you don't necessarily have to. So, I mean, at running back, could you get somebody from the portal? I don't think you get somebody. You bring back Jam Miller, you bring back Justice Haynes, you bring back Richard Young, though you would lose Jace McClellan and Roydell Williams to the National Football League. It's just going to be intriguing to see what becomes the positions of need that Nick Saban will have down on his board. And based on those positions of need, that's where we can probably see him attack the transfer portal. And on top of that, you have to look, National Signing Day is coming up in a week or so. So, and this class, surprisingly, could be a top 3 class when you look at a 5-star quarterback in Julian Sand, a 5-star wide receiver in Ryan Williams. And then you got Rico Scott, you got Amari Rogers coming in here, Amari Jefferson coming in here. I know his first name is Amari, wide receiver, him coming in. Then you got 2 offensive linemen with Will Sanders and Big Joseph Ionata coming in. So it also depends on when you look at the freshman guys, they're going to come in early for bowl prep, and they're coming early for spring practice. Do those guys feel needs to where you don't necessarily have to look at the transfer portal? But the portal is going crazy. It is something that people want to discuss and talk about. But we're going to now get into some of your questions here in the chat line, some of your thoughts, you guys writing in. I appreciate all of you guys here. We got Lions Pride with Hey Steven. Hey Lions Pride, how we feeling? Roll Tide to you. Absolutely. Mike Coleman writes in. He's responding to Matthew Irish. He says, I like Deion, always have. It's the talent level of play in that conference. I know a lot of you guys are wondering, how did Colorado, how did Deion Prime Sanders, Coach Prime, land the 5-star, one of the top offensive tackles in this class? Well, he got him. Prime got him. Prime has always been an elite recruiter. he's always been a guy that people vibe with him. Young men vibe with Coach Prime. They buy what he's selling. I mean, he can sell ice to an ice Eskimo if he wanted to. So Colorado got them a big-time offensive tackle right there going to Boulder. We continue here with Dale B. writes in, NCAA changed it back to 27-24. I guess he's referring to the Iron Bowl there because you look at Terry Arnold had that pick for a touchdown, but some say he stepped out of bounds, some say he didn't, but that Iron Bowl score was 27-24. Let's get some of your thoughts here in the chat, and I'd appreciate all of you guys. Let's see here. Plow Jogger writes in, a lot of NFL teams script the first 20 to 30 offensive plays to see how the other team will defend, Steele taking a page from that approach. I mean, that's what Coach Steele did against Georgia. He wanted to kind of feel Georgia out. What would the Bulldogs do, right? And then based on that, then he would make his adjustment. And I know a lot of you guys were kind of pulling your hair out on that first offensive drive for Georgia. A lot of us were wondering, well, why are they not stopping Bowers? Why are they getting things so easily? Why is Georgia going up and down the field on us? What's going on? Kevin Steele, what are you doing? A lot of us were frustrated on that first drive. I mean, even I myself, up there in the press box, I'm wondering what's going on, what's happening, what is this team doing? But Kevin Steele was literally feeling Georgia out, trying to get a feel for what are they trying to do here, and then we'll adjust accordingly. We saw that coming to fruition there. Justin Summerlin writes in, we're not hating on Deion, we're just speaking facts. Instead of going somewhere for money, you need to go somewhere where you can be developed. And that's kind of the biggest thing that NIL has done, right? It has a lot of players, a lot of these young men are going to where is the big price tag versus what's the place that's going to develop me to be a better man, a better player, a better overall athlete and human being, and a better overall prospect when you look at trying to play at that next level, which is the NFL level. So a lot of these guys are going for the price tag versus going for being developed into an all-around person. So, and we know that, that Coach Prime is going to develop these guys that go to Colorado or choose to go to Colorado the right way there. But we'll continue with your thoughts here. We got DR334, the Roll Tide to you, DR334. Christian Hughes writes in, that's what Kevin Steele meant by joyless murder ball RTR. That's what he meant by that. Alabama was able to set Carson Beck twice. You forced several 3-and-outs. You were able to almost force 4 interceptions. You were able to hold Georgia to 78 yards rushing. So that was joyless murder ball. Kevin Steele brought that there to the forefront. Rock Righteous Ministry writes in, heck yeah, Malachi. Malachi played his tail off. That young man played his tail off against Georgia. Came up, huge hit, made tackles all over the field against the Bulldogs in Atlanta. Malachi Moore had a fantastic game there. Absolutely. Let's see here. We get to more of your thoughts here. We got Brian Thompson writing in. Thomas writing in. Michigan will see real football January 1st, Roll Tide. Michigan will be tested. Michigan will be tested on New Year's Day in the Rose Bowl. Michigan has not been truly tested all season, much like Georgia wasn't truly tested all season until it ran against Alabama. Here is Michigan. Hasn't been truly tested. Ohio State, this was not the best Ohio State team that Michigan's played against. So now Michigan will get its true test here on New Year's Day against the Crimson Tide. Absolutely agree with you. Akeem Patterson writes in, I hope Malachi Moore comes back. Akeem, I hate to break it to you, brother. He gone. After this year, Malachi's gone. He's going to the bank. He's going to the NFL to get that paycheck. He ain't coming back. This young man's a super senior. He's going to the league, the Senior Bowl committee. my guys down there in Mobile that do the Senior Bowl, Jim Nagy, his staff, they already got Malachi on their board. He's going to the Senior Bowl. He is going to the NFL. We got McConaughey coming in. What's up, my Bama brothers and sisters? Appreciate you dropping in, McConaughey, helping us out here on the show. Mike Coleman just basically said what I said. Malachi going to the bank. He going to get that NFL money, that NFL paycheck there, and he has absolutely earned it here. Mike Coleman, who is our biggest get on the defensive side from the portal? I think the biggest get that Alabama's gotten here from the portal on defense here, I mean, so far, Trey Amos is looking good. I mean, Trey Amos is looking good coming out of that portal. He had 2 or 3 pass breakups in the SEC championship game. I don't know, as far as this time around, Mike, who could Alabama get defensively from the portal? There's a lot of names in there, but it comes down to after Saban brings in this early signing period of recruits, then he'll look at the board and see, is there anybody Alabama could be in need of in a position that it could go out there and get. So we'll see how the board here stacks up for the Crimson Tide. But here we go. Bad Boy Cards writes in, you have lost weight, Steven, looking good. Have lost some weight, Bad Boy. I've also put on some muscle, though. Have lost some weight, put on some muscle, trying to get myself on the Marvin Constant diet. Don't tell Marvin. Trying to get myself on the Marvin Constant regimen there. Don't tell him that, though. But that's what I'm doing, getting myself on that Marvin Constant regimen there. Ephraim Davis writes in, time zone is a major factor. Hope Bama gets there early to adjust. Yes, the time zone, Ephraim, is a major adjustment because that's Pacific time. Yes, Pacific time. So that's 3 hours back. Yeah, that's 3 hours back. So hopefully Alabama can get there early, can adjust to the time period because that is 3 hours back there. My man Big Bill from New York writes in, we want Walter Nolan. Fun fact, Walter Nolan was high on Alabama in that 2021 or 22, if I'm not mistaken, recruiting cycle until the NIL kind of swayed him there to go to A&M. So he's back out there on the recruiting market. Would be a big get if Alabama could land Walter Nolan on the defensive line. We got this from Joseph Olgensack there. So Joseph writes in, do you think Seth McLaughlin should enter the draft? I think he has no choice but to. He's a super senior. He would go to the draft. I mean, Seth McLaughlin was able to correct the snap issues there when Bama needed it done the most. So Seth, I could see him coming off the board at this point. Fourth round. Fourth round. I could see McLaughlin off the board. 4th, 5th round, somewhere in there. But I think he has to enter the draft. Plow Jogger writes into Ephraim, don't think they leave right after Christmas in terms of Alabama going to Pasadena. I don't think they leave a day after Christmas. It may be 2 days after Christmas where the Tide could hit the plane and go to Pasadena. But it does need to make sure it's adjusting there to that time change. We got here Mike Coleman writes in, don't forget, family, go give Stephen the thumbs up and hit the bell for the greatest show on the street. Y'all heard Mike? Hit the thumbs up, hit the bell to get locked on. Greatest show on the streets right here, giving you your Alabama football conversation, even from the home location here. Let's see. Now, Justin, someone writes in, Joseph, I believe Seth comes back. Let's see here. Seth McLaughlin came in the 2020 class. So 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. Seth's been here for 5 years. So no, I don't think Seth comes back. I think Seth pursues that draft because Seth came in that 2020 class. So Seth pursues that draft. Justin, someone writes in, I believe Roydale Williams comes back. Roydale could if he wanted to, but he's also a senior as well. We'll see what he does. He could if he wants to, though. But we'll see what he does. We got my man Big Bill writes in, if we win the title, Milroe might leave. I don't think he will, but he is eligible. Milroe is eligible as a redshirt sophomore, but I would not advise him to leave. I would advise him to come back, work on his craft for another year, get you a full year of tape being the guy together on film, mesh more with Tommy Reese and this group of receivers that you have coming back. And then the NFL scouts will look more at you as a first-round guy. I don't see Milroe pursuing the draft here. We got Lions Pride with that $5 donation, dropping that in there. Appreciate Ryan's Pride. He says, Stephen, Paul loved your impersonation, and we did too. Todd Rowe, I had to give the whole Eli Gold impersonation there last week in Atlanta at the Georgia World Congress Center. Everybody really enjoyed that. I enjoyed it myself. That was fun. That was absolutely fun there. Let's see here. We got Bad Boy Cards. Brooks is leaving. Why? This one kind of shocked me a bit. Ja'Cory Brooks leaving, I think that's kind of twofold. The first part of that, dealt with an injury, banged up shoulder all year, got to get himself healed up. That's part of it. The other part is the young guys just stepped up and took over. Young guys just stepped up and took over. I mean, you had, Isaiah Bond stepped up and took over. Kobe Prentice stepped up. Kendrick Law stepped up. And that happens. When you have young guys that are hungry, they want it now, they're going to find a way to step up and take over. And that's exactly what they did. Now, Ja'Cory Brooks will always be remembered as the 2021 Iron Bowl hero. Him catching that 28-yard touchdown pass from Bryce Young to tie the game at 10 at Jordan-Hare before Alabama ultimately won the game 24-22. So Brooks is not lost by any of you of the Tide fans. It's just, he's going to a place where he can definitely make an impact. John M. writes in, Stephen got rid of his deacon couch. LOL. I did not get rid of a deacon couch. I just had to get a family couch. But I did not get rid of the deacon couch. It's still somewhere around here. I got to give that back to Pastor Brown, though. Pastor Brown been calling for his couch back. I got to give that back to Pastor Brown, though. So here we go. DR334 citing their injuries in terms of Ja'Cory Brooks. Yeah, had some injuries there. Definitely had some injuries that he had to get that in play there. Pretty Mimi writes in, hi, Stephen, were you surprised that Ja'Cory Brooks jumped in the portal? And do you think Coach Prime will land him? I was slightly surprised there just because of Brooks' experience, his veteran leadership on the team. He had 8 touchdown catches last year to lead the receiver room. So I was slightly surprised. Does Coach Prime land? He could. I mean, he could. Ja'Cory could find himself in Colorado. He could find himself in Colorado. Now, does Coach Prime pursue him? That would be on Coach Prime there. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll absolutely see. But Pretty Mimi, that's a good point to make there. Could Coach Prime end up getting Ja'Cory Brooks? We should keep our eye on that. That right foot did step out. I slowed it down. I think that was on DR334. I think that was on Terrion Arnold after his pick there in the Iron Bowl, saying his right foot did step out. So there you go, folks, right there on that. We got Tanya Dietrich with the what up there. What's up there to you, Miss Tanya? Appreciate you coming in here on the here on the show here. Jarvis S. writes in, the last play in the Iron Bowl didn't count. Clock was at 0. So many reasons. So many reasons there. But appreciate all of you jumping in, checking out the show here on the day. Thanks to all the comments here coming in as we get into topic number 2 of the conversation here. We get into topic 2, and Nick Saban, Coach Saban today, he was on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. He's making his recruiting rounds, trying to make sure all the guys who are trying to sign that national letter of intent early to be a part of the bowl prep, and more than likely also being a part of spring practice, that all of those guys are able to put their name there on the dotted line. But it was cool getting a chance to hear Coach Saban talk about, this team playing with something to prove. He mentioned that on the Pat McAfee show. This team has something to prove. It doesn't have a chip. It has a full-blown boulder on its shoulders because of all the naysay, of all the disrespect that took place in the offseason, all of the, well, Bama can't do it anymore. They're dead in the water now. Georgia's the standard. Georgia's the king. Georgia makes college football what it is now. Bama is no longer the Bama program that it once was. Like, there was so much naysay. There was so much disrespect in the offseason. And not only did the players hear it, Coach Saban heard that too. Coach Saban heard that too. And he made a point to come on the Pat McAfee show and talk about it. We got something to prove. We're in the college football playoff, absolutely, but we're not done. We're trying to get the final goal here. And the final goal is hoisting that college football playoff national championship trophy at the end as the champion of college football. That's the end goal here for Coach Saban. And he talked about it. It's about this team staying focused on the task at hand, not allowing yourself to get too high, not allowing yourself to get too low, but staying yourself even keel here on the task at hand. First and foremost, getting yourself in the film study for Michigan, figuring out what do they do well, what are their strengths, keening in on taking away the strengths, magnifying the weaknesses, attacking the weaknesses, and forcing Michigan to play behind the chains, forcing the Wolverines to play behind the down and distance, getting them into third and long, second and long, time and time again, and forcing J.J. McCarthy to beat you throwing the football. McCarthy, he's got good numbers this year, 19 touchdowns to only 4 picks. But what Michigan wants to do is muddy the game up by giving the ball to Blake Corum, the running back, 25 to 30 times a game and have him run the football. And where that is concerned, this is where you want your guys on the defensive line in those trenches handling their run fits, not getting late to the run fit, not getting late to stop the run, not getting late to fill your gap, to hit your gap, and to prevent Michigan from getting those 3 and 4 and 5 yards of carry out there, on the ground. So it's going to be imperative for Alabama's defensive front to be in its run fits. It's also going to be imperative for the defensive backs, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Terrion Arnold, to be in their run gap, stopping the run. Also the likes of Jalen Key as well in that free safety position. We know that Malachi Moore and Caleb Daniels, they got no problem tackling people, especially Caleb Downs. That young man leads your team with 99 total tackles and 64 solo stops. So Caleb Downs, a big deal there for Alabama where that is concerned. But I just thought it was cool having Coach Saban speak to Pat McAfee on Thursday about the importance of finishing the job, the importance of got in the playoff despite the naysayers, got in the playoff despite the doubters, got in the playoff despite people saying, Florida State should be in here, Alabama shouldn't be in here. But now the goal is you finish the job. Now the goal is you prepare yourself for Michigan. Now the goal is you study your film, you study your tape, and you get yourself ready to play in a marquee Rose Bowl that, this is crazy. You play the number 1 team in the country in Georgia, and you beat the number 1 team in the country, and now you're getting set to play the number 1 team in the country again in Michigan, and a team where the Wolverines, according to several Vegas sites, they're a 1.5 to 2-point favorite over Bama. You even got the creator of Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy. He's saying, I'm going to bet $1 million that Michigan beats Alabama. Dave Portnoy is putting $1 million on Michigan to beat the Crimson Tide. So you still got Bama as the underdog. You still got Bama being overlooked, being disrespected by some. But Saban He loves the focus of this team. He loves the discipline of this team. He loves the edge this team is playing with. And they know they have something to prove. And they know they have something to fight for. And they know they have something to snatch back here. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great to watch the training process. It's going to be great to watch the training process. It's going to be great to watch how Alabama gets into its preparation for Michigan. But most importantly, when this game is played on New Year's Day, the attention to detail that Alabama is going to take in making sure that they're having the Wolverines play behind the down and distance, every single time when Michigan's offense is out there on the field. But looking forward to this thing here on New Year's Day between Bama and the Wolverines. But we're going to get back into the chat line here to grab your questions. I know you guys have been in here. Oh, my gosh! Ask Bama Girl 26 hits the daily super chat goal. She done dropped in $100. Are you kidding? Whoa! Ask Bama Girl 26. We appreciate that. All that in there. $100 in the bucket. There we go. And behind her, we got Minister RC with that $9.99 in the super chats. Brandon Road Tide. Alabama didn't need Tyler Buckner. Road Tide built by Bama. Alabama did not need Tyler Buckner. He will go and play lacrosse at Notre Dame upon the end here of this season. But man, my goodness, Ask Bama Girl 26 dropped in the huge money right there. Appreciate that. Absolutely. We're going to get to more of your thoughts right here in the comment section. Here we go. We got Run the Table Sports TV writes in, Steve, they got to stop crying. Either way, Florida State wouldn't have got in. Georgia would have taken that spot. I mean, they got to stop crying. They need to stop crying. I mean, the committee did the right thing, people. The only school that had a true gripe was Georgia. And Georgia just, it's better to lose at the beginning. That way you can regroup, retool, refocus, and then lose at the end. But, I mean, Florida State, no way you should be getting in there. The committee did you a favor by not having you in there. Jerry Price writes in, do you think next year's secondary can be better than this year's? I think it can be, especially when you got a possibility that Terrion Arnold could come back. You got Caleb Downs back. You got guys like Jake Pope and Tony Mitchell waiting in the wings. You got Dez Ricks, Jaleel Hurley. You got some dudes that you've recruited. Bama's got some dudes that they've recruited here in the secondary. So next year's group could be even better than this year's group. We come in with Brandon White. Any update on Ryan Williams flipping to Auburn? I hope not. Everything I've seen from Ryan Williams, he's locked in. The 5-star from Saraland High School. Everything I've heard from our own Justin Smith, the director of scouting and recruiting for TDA, he's saying that Ryan Williams is locked in. So I've heard nothing about Ryan Williams flipping to Auburn. To me, he's locked in on the Crimson Tide. Mr. RC, I think we got another $4.99 in the super chats from Minister RC. Riding in, Alabama has its lunch pail. Let's get to work. Roll Tide, appreciate that from Minister RC. We got here a plow jogger riding in. Malachi made himself some money in the SEC championship that he did. NFL sees what Brian Branch is doing. Plus, they love versatile players like Malachi. Absolutely. The NFL is seeing what Brian Branch has done for the Detroit Lions. Malachi Moore in that same mold. He's made himself some money. We got here my man Bill, Big Bill from New York, dropping in a $5 donation. Let's go. He's got 2 defensive touchdowns against Michigan from Caleb Downs. Big Bill has been high on Caleb Downs, so he's got 2 touchdowns there from Caleb. Brian Thomas writes in, Steven, do you think we will get more tight end looks in the Rose Bowl? I don't think Michigan can match up with our tight ends. I would like to see Tommy Rees do this with Amari Niblack and CJ Dupree. I would like to see more tight end looks in the Rose Bowl. Hopefully Tommy Rees is listening to me right now. Tommy Rees, more tight end looks here in the Rose Bowl. I would like to see that. I would definitely like to see that. Here we go. We got this from, can't pronounce his name here, but the question, people act surprised the defense rattled back. Georgia hadn't seen any proper defense yet. The kid had it easier than a lot of quarterbacks with their O-line. Right, Carson Beck hadn't been challenged all year. He hadn't been challenged. He hadn't been tested. Georgia hadn't been tested. So their first test came against the Crimson Tide. Saw what happened there. Alabama was able to get 2 sacks of Carson Beck. Should have forced 4 turnovers, but I digress from that statement. Danny Sutton writes in, is Amos coming back or graduating? I think Trey Amos is coming back because he spent 2 years in Louisiana Lafayette. This will be his junior year. I think Amos comes back. I think Amos comes back here to Alabama for another year. And Trey Amos is good as well. Really, really, really like him. We got Big Country 662 writes in, I'm glad Caleb Downs is just a freshman. Big Country, you and the rest of the Bama Nation is happy that Caleb Downs is just a freshman. You got at least 2 more years with this guy. You got at the very least 2 more years with Caleb Downs right there. Plow Jogger writes in, what about juniors getting a chance to play in the Senior Bowl? I don't think true juniors get a chance to play in the Senior Bowl. Redshirt juniors, yes, but I don't think true juniors Plow get a chance to play there in the Senior Bowl. But that is definitely something to think about that. We got John Dysart writing in, like Uncle Shay Shay, say Bama in. Shannon Sharp is a huge Bama fan. Shannon Sharp is a huge Crimson Tide fan right there. And gotta love this. Here we go. Here we go. Tanya Dietrich, Tanya right there. Good loving got Steven looking fly. Hey, you know what? You gotta look fly sometimes. You gotta look fly sometimes. So does good loving have you looking fly? You know, it should. It does. It does. It does. So Tanya, appreciate that one coming from you right there. Mike Coleman, any news on or thoughts on who replaces Coleman Hutzler? Well, right now, that development has not started yet there, Mike. I would like to think that Coach Hutzler will remain with Alabama until the end of the playoff, and then go to Mississippi State to assume his duties as defensive coordinator. If he has already left, then I can see a situation where Robert Bala, the inside linebackers coach, and then, of course, you got Charlie Strong as a defensive analyst. They'll have that thing worked out right there in terms of making sure those outside linebackers know what to do and how to do out there in the field. My man Big Bill writes in, Steven, no matter how many podcasts there are, yours is the best. Roll top, brother. Bill, I appreciate that. And I do this for you, the Alabama football fans, trying to give you the best in Tide conversation, no matter where I am. Whether I am in studio, whether I am here at home, whether I am in the car somewhere. As y'all know, I am driving. I am everywhere. I am traveling. So wherever I am at that point in time, try to give you guys the best there in Alabama football coverage here. But let's see here. Continue with your thoughts on the show. Man, we got – here we go. We got a thought here. We got Bama Show writes in, Milroe comes back if they win the Natty. Agree with Steven. I feel like this. Whether Bama wins the Natty or not, though I think they're going to win the national championship, I think Milroe needs to come back. I think Milroe comes back regardless because he needs to build up more tape. He needs to build up his game a bit more. So I think regardless, Jalen Milroe comes back here for the Crimson Tide regardless. Boy, appreciate all of you guys writing in. There's that $100 there from Ask Bama Girl 26. Appreciate her. Phenomenal Appreciate all of you guys writing in, getting your thoughts there. There is Minister RC, that $9.99. There we go. We got Bama Hammer writing in. According to Michigan insiders, they said they are going to mix up the offense using their quarterback. So they're trying to use J.J. McCarthy in the run game there. We'll see how that works. They're using the run game there where J.J. McCarthy is concerned. Appreciate all of you guys dropping in your thoughts here on the show. Here we go. Pretty Mimi writes in, hey, Steven, good love, and we'll definitely have you looking good. And are you headed to the Rose Bowl? Well, if I'm credentialed for the Rose Bowl, I will be heading there to the Rose Bowl. But I know that the Rose Bowl committee has not started issuing out credentials yet. That market isn't open just yet. So once it opens and TDA sees how many we're going to be sending here to the Rose Bowl, we shall see. But if I'm not headed to the Rose Bowl, then I will definitely have myself saved for the national championship in Houston, Texas. So I just feel like Alabama's going to take care of Michigan in Pasadena, California. But appreciate all of you guys writing in, giving us your thoughts on the show. We now get to the final topic here of conversation to wrap this up. Is there any area where Michigan could have success against Alabama? I don't see one. I don't see an area right now where Michigan could have marquee success. Now, once again, they have an explosive running back in Blake Corum. You have to account for him. If Alabama doesn't hit its run gaps, Blake Corum can have a big game. He can have a big day. But if Alabama mans those run gaps, not allow Corum to get loose, then you're going to put that on J.J. McCarthy to win the football game for you. And Michigan doesn't have those deep threat options on the outside to really make those plays happen there. So I think the only way for Michigan is if they can force turnovers, because their defense, they've got dudes on defense. They've got guys in the defensive line. They've got playmakers in the secondary. So that's possibly the only way Michigan can have a shot in this game. They've got to force turnovers. Now, if their defense can't get pressure to Milroe and they can't force turnovers and Alabama's offensive line leans on them and takes them out the way, it's going to be a long day for the Maize and Blue. It's going to be a long game. So, in my opinion, the only way that Michigan has a shot here, they've got to get pressure to Milroe. They've got to force turnovers, and their defense has to win on third down. If those things do not happen for the Wolverines, it's going to be a long day, because offensively, they don't have the weapons on the outside at wide receiver. I think they got one tight end. Their biggest piece is Blake Corum. And outside of him, if you're Alabama, you're forcing J.J. McCarthy, you beat us. You're Alabama, that's what you're doing. If I'm Kevin Steele, I'm forcing J.J. McCarthy. You got to play a perfect ball game. And then for Michigan's defense, they've got to force some turnovers. They got to force some mistakes. If they can't force any mistakes, if they can't force any turnovers, and if J.J. McCarthy cannot have the game of his life because Alabama shuts down Blake Corum, then it's going to be a long day for the Wolverines. But I will dive into more over the weekend film study on Michigan, so that as we continue going through this time period of getting prepared for the Rose Bowl, we will have even more to bring to the table to you, the Alabama football faithful. But that's going to do it for me on this evening. Yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. I appreciate all of you checking out In My Own Words today from the home location in Tuscaloosa. As always, folks, you want the best in news, notes, information, coverage, entertainment on your favorite program. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. for your audio needs. Check us out, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. We got you covered right there. Good and gracious Lord sees fit out. Good to be back in studio with you guys on Monday to kick off next week's edition here of shows. I want to shout out all of you, the Bama Nation, for all the donations, all the conversations in the chat, you making this your show, all the subscriptions, you hitting that thumbs up, smashing the like button. Appreciate all of you for what you do. Until next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives, appreciate, value those husbands. Children, you continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored there and enjoy the weekend. You get yourself those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and you've been listening to In My Own Words. Enjoy the weekend, people.